Hello everyone. Welcome to this short series of video on VRE for environmental research infrastructures in ENVI+. I'm Zhimin Zhao, a senior researcher from the University of Amsterdam. In this first video, we will discuss the key challenges in supporting data-centric interdisciplinary research in environmental and earth sciences, and introduce how research infrastructures as an important type of research support environment enable such advanced research activities. Our human society, quality of life, and future economics all depend on the natural environment in which we live. But that environment is faced with several challenges, such as global warming, climate change, pollution, food crisis, and natural disasters. The research problems behind those challenges are intrinsically interdisciplinary. For instance, the study of how climate change influences food production involves the study of not only the atmosphere, but also Earth's processes, the oceans, and the biosphere. Modeling these processes individually is difficult enough, but modeling their interactions is another order of complexity entirely. Scientists are challenged to collaborate across conventionally disciplinary boundaries, but must first discover and extract data across many different sources and in many different formats. Such kind of data-centric interdisciplinary research is difficult. First, it requires long periods of historical observations and a supply of measurements for building models, validating simulations, and understanding the behavior of certain processes. However, in many cases, those data cannot be obtained from a single source, nor all at the same level of the quality or representation. Second, such research requires expertise from multiple disciplines. For instance, modeling a complex environmental problem often requires expertise regarding ecosystems, the oceans, atmosphere, and solid earth. However, the diversity of domains and communities makes surface integration and data harmonization difficult. Third, cross-domain experiments often involve complex data processing workflows, which require flexible integration of software components and tools to implement the data pipeline required by each experiment. However, the complexity of data processing, as well as the dynamic changes needed by the scientists as they explore possibilities, make such workflows very difficult to model and execute. Finally, when research activity requires distributed computing resources, the support environment should also provide access to sufficient underlying storage, computing, and network resources. However, the customization and optimization of distributed and often heterogeneous infrastructure due to the data locality, data and surface accessibility constraints, and performance requirements are still difficult. Effective research support environments are needed. First of all, a support environment has to support user-centric activities, typically including research problems formulation, experiment design, data and surface discovery, workflow execution, and analysis of the final results. Second, the support environment also has to support the management of the research data during the entire life cycle. Typical activities include data acquisition, curation, publication, processing, and use. Finally, the research environment must support the management of the underlying infrastructure resources, such as computing, storage, and networks. Typically, including handling requests from resources, issuing surface-level agreements, scheduling tasks on the resources, monitoring the status of those tasks and the resources, and providing support. There have been different projects or initiatives for tackling those requirements. To meet the requirements for supporting user-centric research activities, solutions like a virtual research environment, science gateways, and virtual laboratories have been developed, with examples including VRE for EIC, D4Science, BlueBridge, and Everest. To meet the requirements for managing the data and other digital assets, data infrastructures, research infrastructures, or big data infrastructures are typical solutions, with examples in environmental and earth sciences including ICOS, EPOS, ANAI, and EUROARGO. To meet the requirements for managing the infrastructure resources, cloud providers like Amazon or Azure, or e-infrastructures such as EGI and UDAT are typical examples. In reality, those systems or infrastructures often have overlapped boundaries, and so that they coexist more like an ecosystem of services which serve scientific research from the perspective of different life cycles. In this ecosystem, research infrastructure is an important support environment which bridges the gap between research data and user-centric environments, and between the research data and the underlying physical infrastructures. It brings together facilities, resources, and services used by scientific community to conduct research, establish best practice for science, and foster innovation. In this environmental and earth sciences, there are research infrastructures for different subdomains, including ecosystem, aquatic, atmosphere, and solid earth domain. Some of them cross more than one subdomains, and there are some examples. The Integrated Carbon Observation System, ICOS, is a research infrastructure mainly focused on carbon observation, but across different environmental domains. As of 2018, there are more than 100 observation stations across 12 European nations collecting raw data. The raw data and further processed in 3 semantic centers in atmosphere, ocean, and ecosystem domains, respectively. ICOS provides a data portal for users to discover and access data and services. The European Plate Observation System, EPOS, is a research infrastructure connecting more than 4,000 observation stations across Europe. It provides services across 10 semantic centers, including seismologists, near-fault observations, and volcano observations, etc. Users can access these semantic services and EPOS data from a catalog via a central portal. EuroArgo starts in 2008 with 12 European countries. It is the European contribution to the Global Argo program. The program network has more than 3,500 autonomous instruments. EuroArgo contributes to the global framework by deploying 250 floating instruments every year. It provides a portal for accessing global Argo data. Analysis and experimentation on ecosystems, NRE, is a research infrastructure across 17 European countries. It is mainly for communities concerned with food safety, agriculture, and other relevant fields in ecosystem research. It provides different analytical and experimental platforms for its community, including open field environment, in-house experimental platforms, data analysis platforms, and a modeling platform. In this video, we discussed the challenges and the requirements for supporting data-centric and interdisciplinary research in environmental and earth sciences. We reviewed some of different solutions available, and we specifically discussed research infrastructures. For more details of the research infrastructures in environmental and earth sciences and virtual research environment, please check ENVIRI+ and the VIE4ERC website. Further information of ICOS, EPOS, EuroArgo, and NRE can also be found from their websites.